What's going on, guys? Welcome to my video today on Hawaii Knife and Gear. I know it's been a little while since I posted anything. It's been kind of our winter season here, so it's been raining, and I don't want to say miserable because it's raining and 75 degrees, but you know, I do like to film outside, so it's been a little hard to find some nice times to sit down and actually make a video here. But I wanted to share with you some of the things that I've gotten in the last month and a half here, and part of this has been kind of a rabbit hole that I didn't realize just how deep it was at first. But what I wanted to talk about today was Swiss Army knives, and I posted a video before. I've gotten some auction lots from TSA auctions that they do here in Hawaii, and it's kind of got me started in this whole world of Swiss Army knives that, as you can see, I have accumulated quite a few of them through auction. So I want to share some of them with you today. I'm not going to go through all of them. Obviously, there's a lot of the common models that are similar, but I want to share some of the more interesting ones that I found with you and kind of show you what I got here. So start with the small ones. I have so many of these 58 millimeter keychain size ones. I actually got one lot that was just, I think, 130 of them in this size. So there were some cool variations in there. A ton of the red common ones, yes, but then, you know, you've also got the black ones. There was a whole bunch of the different color variations, and then there were a lot of the different tool variation models. Some of these are pretty neat. This is, see if I can find some different ones in here. This is the Mini Champ, which I think is just a great little setup. There's so many cool tools on the Mini Champ. I actually have been carrying one of those on my keys. So I took a regular Mini Champ, which has this sliding pen that comes out the end here, which I didn't think I would ever use, and I kind of set up my own here and replaced the scales on the side with just the regular classic scales that has toothpick and tweezers. So it kind of slimmed it down a little bit, made it feel a lot better in hand, and this is just a perfect little setup for my keychain. I use the nail file on it all the time. Obviously, if you're messing with Swiss Army knives, you're going to be messing up your fingernails just opening and closing them, so it's nice to have a nail file on here. It's got this little screwdriver cap lifter setup. It has a couple different blades. This tool is just awesome. This is a kind of a retail package opener with the hook there, so I thought that was kind of cool. And then the other implement that the Swiss felt was necessary on here, I don't know what you'd use that for. You can use your own imagination. But definitely the Mini Champ is a neat little keychain size knife, so I was glad to get a couple of those in the lot. And part of what I've gotten all of these for, you saw my New Year's giveaway video. Obviously, I have been trying to get into making my own scales, and I really love the way Koa comes out when you put it on the side of a Swiss Army knife. So I've done a few here, and did this one in the Mini Champ version, so I thought that came out pretty neat. But nice to have plenty to work with here at this point, so I do plan on doing some more giveaways coming up here. This is a tinker that I'm working on. Still need to glue up the scales on this guy, but you can see, just, you know, pop off the original plastic ones, make them out of wood, and I think they come out pretty neat. So that's my plans for a lot of these guys here. So I will have some more coming up for giveaway soon. But some of the other interesting ones that were in these lots, there were a couple of these limited edition smaller versions, the pink camo, the regular green camo. This guy here is, I can't remember what they call this one, but kind of a neat print on there. So there was just a lot of different versions that were in there. This guy here, totally interesting. I am terrified to plug this into a computer and see what's actually on here, but this is the, what do they call this guy? I think it's called the Swiss Bit, and it comes with a whopping 64 megabyte flash drive. So this was one of the earliest versions. Very little storage, but kind of a neat idea. It comes with a little red LED bulb, and then your regular standard tools like a classic. scissors, keychain, and nail file, but kind of neat to find that one in there also. And then also a very nice ALOX version of the classic, so I thought that was kind of cool. The tie-dye version, so definitely just some neat limited edition versions in there. Nice to kind of go through them. Somebody posted a picture on the Victorinox fan page of all the different limited edition versions that they've come out with, and it's amazing how many different variations they put out. If you wanted to try and collect Swiss Army knives, you really need to find a category that you want to start collecting, because you would just never be able to get them all. They make a Swiss Army knife for every occasion, every event, everything basically gets its own Swiss Army knife made for it. So there's just so many of them out there. It's unbelievable. And yeah, so obviously, like I said, I'm not going to show you all of these, but I will kind of pick out some of the other interesting ones. Like this guy I thought was kind of cool. I'm not sure, I do believe this one's called the Climber, but there were a couple of these that have what they call their Stay Glow scales. These are glow in the dark, which was kind of cool. There were two of these full-size ones and then two of the keychain size ones in the glow in the dark. This guy here, nothing special, but I love the color on this. This is the Sapphire Blue, and this I believe is a Spartan, but very neat. Love the color on this guy. It's blue translucent, just super cool looking. This guy here was another one that when I looked it up, it's kind of a desirable version. This is a Huntsman, but it was part of a 4-piece set that was released only in France called the Camo Fun set, and this is the orange version, so kind of cool. That one will probably be going back up on eBay, and I have actually gotten rid of a few already since I've gotten them. Trying to obviously make my money back on the auction lots here, but a couple of the more desirable ones I will just turn around and try and resell to recoup some of my money, but camouflage one was kind of cool. This one I thought was really neat, and I could see it in the picture. I knew that this one was a very interesting one that I wanted to have. Unfortunately, what I couldn't see from the picture, this one took some battle damage here, and it looks like it kind of took a nosedive. Both of the scales are busted up a little bit, but still a very cool knife. I believe this one's called the Warhawk version, and you know, I think this is the Super Tinker they have it on. It has the pliers in it, so definitely cool. Wish it wasn't busted up, but anyway, that's part of the fun of the auction, is not knowing exactly what you're going to get until you pick it up. So this guy here was brand new, never been used. I thought this one was kind of cool. I don't know the name. I think it's like the Evo Grip or something, but this is a locking version. It's got this little button lock here for the main blade, and then the tool setup on this is pretty cool. It's got the Phillips screwdriver on the back. It's got a wood saw to it. So this one's definitely got a lot of neat tools all packed into a pretty compact version here. I did find this one also, which this is Victorinox factory wood version. I do believe they do these out of walnut, so let's see how it compares to my Koa looking ones. And then moving down the line, some of the bigger ones here that I ended up getting. This is a Swiss Champ or some variation of, I don't know the exact name on the different Swiss Champs, but this here, when I was a kid, when I was 10 or 11 years old in Boy Scouts, this was my grail knife, was to have a big Swiss Champ. And the one tool I thought was the coolest was the magnifying glass. And this thing, the magnification on this is incredibly high magnification. So I always thought that that was just such a cool implement to have on here. I would have just loved to have this as a kid. So nice to finally get my hands on some of these that, you know, finally get my grail knives from my Boy Scouts. But a couple different ones that I found that had that same setup. I don't know exactly what this one is called. This is a 4-layer version that has new style magnifying glass, and then this one actually has Phillips screwdriver and the corkscrew. So this is kind of a nice setup here. Definitely a lot of useful tools all in one setup. This guy here, I believe, is also the climber version. This is the Swiss flags version, and includes scissors and regular main blade. This one here is the angler, which I know they have a couple different versions of the angler. Has this nice koi fish inlaid here with a metal inlay, and this one has, if I can find it, it's got your fish scaler, hook degorger. So kind of neat. This was the only one of those in the lot, but kind of cool. These guys I thought were really interesting. These are actually sort of their economy version, and these are nylon scales versus this hard red plastic sealador or celador that they call it. I actually kind of like the nylon. It's got a really nice matte finish to it and doesn't scratch up nearly as bad. These guys, it's really hard to find any of these in an auction lot that aren't, you know, beat up a little bit and scratched up on the outsides. It's just kind of the nature of the material that they use. But I know some people have figured out a way to kind of sand them and buff them out and bring the scales back a little bit, but I think the nylon is much more durable, so it's nice to have gotten a couple of these in here. And actually some of them in the large size versions too also use this. The only real difference also is that the shield is not metal on these. This is kind of heat pressed into the plastic, and you can see it does kind of wear off a little bit, so that's the only issue with these guys, but definitely cool. Got a couple different versions of this one. And then this guy here. This is probably the biggest reason why I wanted this large auction lot. I saw this one from the picture. I could see these 3 little vent ports, but that was about all I could see from it. And after looking on the Swiss Army Knife Wiki, I knew what I was looking at. I knew it was a very desirable model. This is called the Swiss Flame, and this one actually has a butane lighter built into it. Unfortunately, they only made this for about 2 years, and they never really worked properly. I guess what I was reading was people would just use whatever off-the-shelf cans of butane, and this was really picky about what type and what grade of butane you put in it. It had to be a really clean burning butane with not a lot of junk in it, or else it would clog up and they'd stop working. So only being made for 2 years, a lot of them got sent right back to the factory because they didn't work properly, and then the rest of them out in the world got kind of desirable. So these go for, you know, in brand new in box, old stock, even non-working, they go for like $200-300. So I knew what I was looking at. Unfortunately, when I picked it up, this guy, somebody was very frustrated at the fact that it didn't work probably, and took a screwdriver to just about every section of it. So this one's pretty badly beat up. It's more of an art piece at this point. I think kind of shows the collective frustration of everybody that got one and they didn't work. So there actually is still somebody that wants to take this off my hands even in this condition, so it kind of gives you an idea of what they're worth out there. But kind of cool, the Swiss Flame. Some of these other ones, again, this is a climber, the parcel hook on the back. And the one thing I thought was kind of neat, looking at some of these 84mm versions, I do like this size. This one is a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to carry in the pocket, but these 84mm, there's a lot of different setups here. This one's called the Waiter, I believe. It just has a main blade, your cap lifter, and then the corkscrew on the back. But some of the other neat versions that I found, this one I just got the other day, this I believe is called the Scientist, and this is, I'm pretty sure, one of the only 2-layer versions that they ever made that included the magnifying glass. So even though it seems like a pretty simple basic setup, this one is pretty desirable on eBay and in the Swiss Army Knife collector's world, so it was cool to get one of these. Unfortunately, the main blade has been sharpened and is not in perfect shape, so that's part of the treasure hunt, but it does have the additional little flathead screwdriver in there. And then in the scale tools, this one also includes a pen, so kind of a cool little setup. This is another one of the 84 millimeters. This is called the Compact, and instead of the magnifying glass, this one has a pair of scissors. So it's kind of cool. So, geez, I don't even know where else to go here. Let's look at some of these 111 millimeter ones. I don't know the names on all these. I know, when they change one tool, it changes the whole name of it, so I'm not 100% sure on the names of these guys, but this is neat. This is a locking main blade, just one drop point with a liner lock to it, so very basic folding knife here. The only thing I thought was kind of strange on these, and actually on all of the liner locking knives, it's better suited for somebody who's left-handed. The liner goes the opposite direction to be able to use for a right-handed person, so I don't know what the reasoning is behind that, but you can operate it with your right hand if you want. You just gotta kind of push it to the side with your first finger and then close it. But anyway, all these guys are set up for lefties. So this, I believe, is called the Soldier version, and I got a couple different ones of this. This is, I think, all the same tool setup as this guy here. One that I found, but I already got rid of, unfortunately, before I was able to make this video, was worth quite a bit on eBay, was the US Soldier version. It was marked US in black, and then all of the tools and the liners were all Parkerized in black. Same exact setup as this guy, but I think 2017 they made it in US Soldier version, so pretty cool. This one has the Phillips screwdriver on the back. It's got a really nice wood saw to it, which I think this is a super handy tool to have on a Swiss Army knife. This very aggressive saw, just good for ripping through stuff. Obviously, I do a lot of woodworking. I do plumbing sometimes. It's good for cutting PVC pipe or whatever. It's a very aggressive, very useful saw. So I'm glad that they put this on a lot of these different versions. Actually, one of my favorite setups on any of these guys is the Huntsman version, and that's the one that I've been carrying the most. Would be a Huntsman, and the Huntsman basically is parcel hook, corkscrew on the back with an awl, and then on the front side it's your main blade, your small blade. It has the wood saw. It also has the scissors, and then can opener and bottle opener. So the Huntsman is really cool. The only one that I really, really wanted, and unfortunately didn't find in any of these auction lots, is the Fieldmaster. And I ended up just ordering one on eBay. They don't cost a whole lot, but the Fieldmaster is this exact same setup with the Phillips screwdriver instead of the corkscrew. So that to me is just about perfect. It's a 4-layer knife, it's easy to throw in a pocket, and it just has everything that I personally would want to have on a Swiss Army knife that I'm going to carry every day. So that is probably going to be the one that I'll throw in my pocket, is the Fieldmaster. So some of these other guys here, this is a really basic one. This is the one that I think I had in Boy Scouts. This is called the Tinker. Just your main blade, cap lifter, can opener, small blade, Phillips screwdriver, and then the awl. So as far as a two-layer version, the Tinker was always one that I had. So some of these other guys here, let's see what else we got. This one here, this is another one that I actually have had for a long time. This is the Electrician version. It's another 84 millimeter. It's a single layer, and it includes this little sheep's foot blade with a cutout for stripping wires, and then your Phillips screwdriver on the back. So definitely a cool single layer 84 millimeter version. This one's actually pretty desirable also on eBay, so kind of cool. But some of these other guys here, this one is another one of the drop point blade locking versions. This is a slide lock on here, so I don't know if you can see inside, but you slide this button down and it disengages the bar to unlock your blade here. This one has a pair of scissors, and one of the only Swiss Army knives that I found that you actually have to open one of the tools to get to the other tool, but hiding underneath there is also a Phillips screwdriver. So I thought that was kind of neat. And then this one also has a nice big wood saw to it, so kind of a cool setup here. And then this one, a little bit bigger version. This one is also the slide lock for the main blade, but then it has pliers inside. Hiding under the pliers is another Phillips screwdriver. And this one also has the scissors, and then hiding under the scissors is a smaller screwdriver, so kind of a nice full-size version. And this one definitely is the biggest of the bunch. I don't even know what size this is. I don't know what's after 111 millimeter, but this guy here, another one-handed opening blade. The lock on this guy is actually the shield itself, so you disengage right there. So neat setup on this one. Also has the big wood saw to it. So that's the majority of the different models here. I know there's some other variations that I'm probably forgetting in here, but you know, obviously I'm not going to go through every single one of them. This one here, I can't even imagine how many packs of cigarettes somebody had to smoke to get their hands on this guy, but this is kind of cool. I don't know what the model name is on this guy. It's not quite as big as the Swiss Champ. I think. Yeah, you can see here. This one definitely has a cool tool setup to it. The one thing it does have is this fish scaler on it, and then also has, hiding in here somewhere, the saw, scissors, magnifying glass. So this is a cool setup here. That's the one I was looking for. Oh, here we go. So this is another neat tool that they put in here. This file actually has some saw teeth on the bottom, so it's kind of a nice metal file, little saw here. So do like that implement. So I think that's pretty much it for different tools and different models that I have here. A lot of these guys over here are the more common versions. Again, I don't know the difference in names on every single one of them, but pretty cool to, you know, just be able to check out so many different variations, and you know, need to see a lot of the different setups that they have on these guys. So the one thing that I want to show you before I end this video, before it gets too long here, is their multi-tools, and these are fantastic. I have had Leatherman tools forever and just never really considered the Victorinox as a multi-tool that I would ever use, but after getting a couple of them in auction, these are incredibly well-made tools. I mean, super stout, feel really solid in hand. I mean, it's a pretty heavy chunk of metal here, but it's all rounded where it's supposed to be. Got a really nice tool setup on all these guys, so their multi-tools are really, I mean, they are very, very well made. So if you're in the market for a new multi-tool, they're not inexpensive. I know they go for, you know, maybe around $100, but they are very, very well made, well designed, comfortable in your hand. All the tools lock in place. It's got a little slide lock on the bottom here. Just a really, really nice multi-tool. So glad I was able to check some of these guys out here. I would have just never considered this as something that I would have purchased, but really nice scissors on it. This guy here also has Phillips screwdriver. Has the same nice file to it. The teeth on the bottom. And then on the back side, you get a half serrated main blade. It has this really nice wire stripping tool. Really nice pry bar cap lifter. And all. I'm not 100% sure what this hook at the bottom is for. If anybody knows, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I don't know what you would use that for, but kind of neat. Very nice setup here. And then
last tool on here, obviously the wood saw. So I think this one's called the Spirit X. I really, really like this multi-tool a lot. Very impressed with how well it was made. So, but that's pretty much what I got here, guys. I mean, I'm sorry to dump them all on you in one video here, but now that I feel like I'm a little bit more caught up and show you guys what I've been doing for the last month and a half here, I could get back to making some of my regular videos. I know part of the issue has been shipping from China was held up due to their Chinese New Year, and the coronavirus obviously is just really making a mess of things over there. So getting Tucson knives shipped out here has not been easy. I did finally get a few of them the other day, so got some new videos coming up. But yeah, just been down the Swiss Army knife rabbit hole here for a little while. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. I will have some giveaways coming up here. Like I said, I got a couple more of these that I'm working on, some wood scales, so I will be doing another giveaway coming up soon. I want to thank any new subscribers that have signed on board since the last time I put a video out. Thank you guys. Welcome aboard, and hope to see you all at the next video. Thanks.